I'd like to talk about the overlap among the different ministries because, as Linda mentioned, young adult ministry is like an umbrella with other different kinds of ministries in our church. One of the things that we're trying to do is to work with the campus ministry in our archdiocese, and we are all so busy doing our own thing for our own job that it's difficult to take the time to try to build bridges with another office, let alone with several different offices. But I think Lori and I are trying to do that. It may be small steps. One of the things we did was just say, Lori, would you guys like to write a column in the newsletter so that we can reach out to campus ministers? And so they do have a page here. It's called Campus Connection. So to also, we give these to leaders of parishes. I have some in the back, but if you'd like to take a look. We give this to leaders of parishes because a lot of the people that go to parish young adult ministries are students, so that they could also give back to the campuses, from their own knowledge, their own expertise on program planning or whatever. They can go give back to the campus. That is not just contained into themselves. One of the things we'd like to do eventually is to list down what are the campuses and who is the campus minister at those campuses, so that when these young adult people read it, we do have a list of leaders and their phone numbers, but I'd like to especially take it out and put it on the Campus Connection page and say, these are the Newman Centers around. Here is the contact person. This is the person you should be connecting with. Another area here is we also work with our vocations office. Because the vocations, if you look at it, a lot of them that are entering vocations are young adults. The seminarians and the novices. And a lot of the vocations office uses our mailing list to send out their vocations literature. So it's kind of like you rub my back, I'll rub your back. And so I think we need to take that time. Like the small step, that's a small step. I know the other day Lori took us out to lunch. My colleague Carol and I, we sat down and had lunch with Lori. And it's just little things. It's just to open that dialogue process. Lori invited us to one of her campus ministry gatherings with her Newman directors, and we went to that and played Catholic Trivial Pursuit. I learned a lot about my faith through that game. And I think that's really important, a ministry of presence. Maybe we can't do anything right away, but at least we get to see the faces, and that campus ministry is just not an office over there, but it's Lori and all her other directors of the Newman Centers. I know Bishop Ochoa, one of our regional bishops, says that ministry of presence is so important that's what he does. He goes around and is just present. He doesn't need to make any kind of presentation or anything. He just is there to be with the people. And I think that is so important for us to just take that time. I know it's hard with our busy schedules, but if you could just schedule in maybe once a week to meet with one of your departments, just to say, this is what I do, what do you do? And let's see, how can we help each other out? Met with Catholic Charities the other month. We don't know how we could connect, but we're just going to say we're going to meet, and let's find out ways and be creative. Catholic Charities, I'm thinking, gosh, they know all the people with money. So I don't know yet, but what we can do is to maybe connect up and say, well, young adults can help you with some of your fundraisers, but we'd like to take 10%. So there's some good ways that you could do it, and I think it's just a matter of being creative. And this is a time where nothing is really set in stone. This field is very new, so we're going to make mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes. But we learn from it. But I think we need to take the chance and to, just do it anyway. Learn from it, change it. If it's good, build upon it. So that's what I have to offer you. I just want to leave you with 4 qualities I think is necessary for leaders to have today. And I take 3 of them from Stephen Covey's book, Principle-Centered Leadership. And then another one is from a book by Napoleon Hill. The first one is integrity. I think that all of us as leaders need to have integrity, and that's the value we place on ourselves. We make and keep commitments first to ourselves as well as to others. And so I say that, when we decide to make a meeting with someone, try to really keep that meeting, because later on, that's gonna, if you're always calling and saying, sorry, something came up, that person feels kind of lower on the totem pole. So I think if we're going to make a commitment to someone, to try to really keep that commitment. And then for ourselves too, taking that time to commit to ourselves some time for reorganizing, rebalancing ourselves. Second one is maturity, the balance between courage and consideration. That's if a person lacks maturity, they may try to borrow strength from their position, power, credentials, seniority, or affiliations. So I think that it's important as leaders to have, that wisdom of knowing when to say what and how to say it well, so that people are not so offended, to be more diplomatic. The third one is abundance mentality, that there is a piece of the pie out there for everyone. There is plenty out there for everyone to do. I mean, there is so much in young adult ministry, campus ministry, that we don't need to work on the scarcity mentality that's saying, if you're going to take this, then there's not going to be enough for me. I think there's so much for everybody. If we could all help each other, then we can really build the kingdom of God. And then the fourth one is flexibility. That today is so important to have, because things are not always going to go the way we would like them to, but to be able to adapt to the different changes. And the definition I have here on flexibility is the ability to survey and assess a given situation swiftly and to react to it on the basis of logic and reason with a minimum amount of emotion. So by doing that, we'll be prepared to take prompt action in seizing opportunity or solving problems. Because today, I think we have so much opportunity with the advent of technology, email, internet, all these different things. We have a lot of opportunity, and we need to be able to seize that opportunity now. Right now we're riding the crest of this wave with the National Pastoral Plan. Hopefully we can, we're trying to make it available to pastors, to market it out there, to tell our pastors and our bishops and our cardinal that this is happening, and you need to get on board and be with us. But we want to also say, this is how we're going to support you. I think with young adult ministry, we need to be able to market it to our leaders, because oftentimes they don't want to help us because they don't know what they're going to get out of it. So we need to be able to show them how this is going to benefit the church in general. And that's all I have to say. I have one short, quick announcement. I brought some of these newsletters out, and they're in the back. And then we have a conference coming up in February. If you would like to take a brochure, it's in the back. It's how to create effective ministry with young adults. And here we invited a Protestant minister to help us, because I think they really know how to do it, because they've been doing it for many, many years. It's Terry Hershey, and he wrote a book on young adult ministry. So he'll be out here giving us a full day on I'll just read to you some of the topics. Laying the foundation for an effective ministry with young adults, obstacles to effective ministry with young adults, 4 keys to recruiting your leadership team, building and nurturing your leadership team, and how to utilize objectives and action plans to achieve your desired ministry results. I think those are so important. I think that it's not just for young adult ministry, but also for campus ministry. These are things that could really be good, useful tools to learn.
Any questions? Or Lori, maybe you'd want to make a comment as the person in the same diocese.
I
You know, Lori, I'd just like to mention, do you know, Elena Cardenas is out at Laverne University. She called me the other day, and she said that she is bringing a bunch of her campus ministry people to an event that we're hosting in December, which is an Advent evening of prayer. And so that is some kind of bridge building, but she learned about it through our newsletter. So I think that is starting to take place. We do.
I like your, when you're speaking about getting smaller but getting smarter. That's just a true reality. But when you link that also with the last point about abundance mentality, you can, or a lot of times I look at it as shrinking to excellence. You know, that sometimes we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice. Money's cutting and so on and so forth. And so that if you're going to shrink, then not shrink to excellence.
We're all writing that down. Anybody else? We'll have time at the end again, but make sure we get these two wonderful people in. David or Tisha, who wants to go first? We'd like to hear from them on their reality as young adults in campus situations.
Well, I'd just like to give you a little background on myself, and then, like John said, that we're going to open it up to questions. When I came to UCLA more than 5 years ago, I'm a professional student, by the way. My parents don't like it, but I do. And I knew I was going to have to make a lot of choices here. And one of those choices was whether or not to continue the religious habits and the religious practices that I had been raised with. Now, I grew up in a very small, isolated farming community. We were really out there. And I was making a really big move to a really big city when I came to college, and I was doing it all by myself. I chose to worship at the University Catholic Center, and now I have a home here. Being part of this parish, and I do consider the University Catholic Center my parish, has been a very stable factor in my otherwise unstable life. As a student, I've changed majors 3 times, and subsequently added 2 specializations and another major. I moved from the dorms to apartment after apartment. My roommates came and went, and even the party scene around me changed drastically over the years. But I could always count on the University Catholic Center. It was, and still is, very important that my faith be more than just sitting around at Mass on Sunday looking to see who was as bored as I was. I became very active in social justice. Now, I haven't always been this model little Catholic girl, and I fell away from the rules and regulations of my Catholic upbringing. And after more than a year and much needed soul searching, I realized that yes, God does forgive me, but I needed to learn to forgive myself. And I began what was the most difficult period of time in my life. A time when I no longer wanted to wake up every morning. I returned to the University Catholic Center after this absence for the love and the companionship that had been there when I left. And I found it. I learned that I wasn't such a bad person after all, and that many others have strayed, and we find renewal in the Word, in the Eucharist, and also in our University Catholic Center community. It was very difficult. I'm very much a control freak in my life, and I had to learn not to try and fit being Catholic in my schedule, but I had to learn to schedule my life around being Catholic. Now the University Catholic Center is the center point of my life, and I can say that because I've completed 1 year as a pastoral associate, and I'm currently imprisoned. Oh no, I'm in my 2nd year there. They really don't let me escape, but I even returned from my parents' house 4 hours away early enough on Sunday just to go to Mass here. And while I was kind of figuring this out, I realized there are 3 things that make my spiritual experience here at UCLA different from my parents' church. One of them is the music. And a lot of people from other churches tell me, well, that's stupid, the music. What do you mean the music? Well, here at the Catholic Center, the music is done in all languages. All the parts of the Mass are in different forms, come from different traditions and different cultures. and everyone is welcome to participate. Our choir director every day, every Sunday before Mass, will walk around saying, you know, I really want to hear you guys sing. I really want to hear your voices. Even me, who doesn't sing very well, she asked me to sing louder. And also the homilies. I cannot recall a single sermon that Father John preached to us where I grew up. I don't even think I paid attention. Usually I was trying to avoid getting caught taking a nap. But here, homilies are relevant to my life as a Catholic student, relevant to the things that I have to deal with. It's a message directed to me. And I wouldn't say every time, the majority of the time I go to Mass, whatever has been troubling me throughout the week, or whatever concerns I have, that homily will be directed right at that. It's almost as if the preacher is reading my mind. And it's kind of scary when it happens a few times. I finally just gave up, and I was like, okay, they're going to talk to me. This is different, but I like it. And also the fact that homilies here are sensitive to women and to people of color, and that is very important to me. And thirdly, the people here at the University Catholic Center. Where I grew up, in this little isolated community, you were either black, Mexican, or white. And if you were black, you went to the Baptist church on the south side of town. Mexicans went to Spanish Mass. And then white people were kind of scattered in different denominations, but white Catholics went to Mass in English. It was as if we had one Catholic church building, but two Catholic communities. Now, when I came to UCLA, the multiplicity of races astounded me. I had never before seen such a diverse group of people. And to see that incredible diversity mirrored at Mass gave me a completely different perspective. It transcended the music, the homily, and the community that I worshiped with. It was no longer necessary for me to choose between being Mexican and being white. Now I could be a Chicana, and my culture and the culture of hundreds of other people were incorporated into our worship, our social activities, and our social justice mission. On our pastoral team, we had a little workshop about the Mass, and we were all asked to share our favorite part of the Mass. And I'm sitting here all excited because I know my favorite part of the Mass. And I said, the dismissal, really loud. Now, Father Paul didn't really appreciate the fact that I was so excited to get out of there. But when I explained that I don't see the dismissal as the end, for me it's the beginning. It's the beginning of taking what I have learned, what was just a sermon as a child, and what was just a habit, and putting it into practice as a young adult. I have grown as a Catholic, as a woman, and as a Chicana here at UCLA. And I continue this growth process by educating myself, not just about communication studies and sociology and Chicano studies, but about my Catholic identity too, and how other students celebrate their faith. I try to attend at least one conference every year where I will learn more about being Catholic, and I can interact with other people who share my faith. I also plan and attend various retreats within our parish at UCLA and diocesan young adult activities. I maintain an active social life within the church. After all, a girl has to have some fun. And I continue to model my life after Jesus Christ by serving the community. I recently attended the National Call to Action Conference in Chicago and was overwhelmed, to say the least. I was also empowered by the contributions of women and people of color on this level. It was something that before coming to college I had never experienced. After meeting with young adults from colleges across the country, I realized that at UCLA we are truly blessed. Our pastoral team is 9 student leaders who work with the staff to plan all spiritual, all social, and all outreach activities. And our group is unlike any other that we had come in contact with at this national conference. I feel that myself and the other campus minister that came from UCLA, that went from UCLA to that conference, were an inspiration to other students to form their own leadership body and empower themselves as Catholics to participate as we do in the campus experience. Now I have a family in Blythe, 4 hours away, but I have a family here too. I invite my family and my friends from various other Southern California towns and cities to worship with me here at UCLA. I have been able to feed my spiritual hunger with the Word, with the Eucharist, and with the community at UCLA, and now I'm full.
Well, I actually don't have anything written out today, and normally that's not my style. Normally I'm the type that just kind of goes ad-lib from my mind and from my heart. As Lori stated earlier in the introductions, I'm a student at Cal State Long Beach. I'm a senior. I'll be graduating next year, majoring in political science. And in addition to being involved in the Catholic Newman Club as their president this year, I'm also very involved in AS government, and I also work on campus for public safety. So I'm constantly there. I'm constantly in touch with campus life, and I feel that I'm really beginning to understand more and more what students are looking for, and understanding students and what's important to them in their lives and the experiences they go through. I came to Cal State Long Beach about 2 years ago. This is I'm finishing up my 4th semester there. I was a transfer student from a community college, and during my community college years, those were kind of like my lost years, because I had stopped going to church for actually about 1.5 years, and it was the time when I really was starting to become disassociated with my parents, and I was not really in sync as far as what I want to do with my life, and as far as my own spirituality, my purpose for being here, and my own touch with the Catholic faith, because I was born Catholic, grew up Catholic, spent 12 years in Catholic schools. And I'd been through the whole process and the whole education, but during that whole time, I guess, as I got older, I just sort of lost touch of what it is to be Catholic and what it is to be entering the young adult years. When I came to Cal State Long Beach, I started to become involved with just some small organizations, and the first one I really became active with was the Catholic Newman Club. And that was sort of a springboard for a lot of other things for me later on. But that was definitely an important part of my life. It was very important for me to meet my campus minister, Lori, who has helped me out in so many ways, and to meet some of the students, particularly a very close friend of mine who has since graduated, who has helped me a lot out of my life. Unlike UCLA, where Tisha goes, where they have a strong Catholic Newman Catholic Community Center, at Cal State Long Beach we don't have that, unfortunately. Ours is much more of a commuter school. We don't have a Catholic Newman Center. We work out of a small little office, which is part of an interfaith center, where we work with other denominations. So that is right there is an obstacle. Also, the nature of our campus, where out of about 27,000 students, only about 1,500 to about 2,000 live on campus. The vast majority commute to school. Some commute a great distance. Many of them work quite a few hours. We have a lot of students who will attempt to take 12 units and work 30 to 40 hours a week. We don't have a lot of campus involvement, not just in Catholic Newman, but just clear across the board and everything. So that right there is an obstacle. It's a challenge. It's something that I have to work at, and the members of our organization have to work with. But I see that the people that we have, that we do get involved in our Catholic Newman Club and get involved in our campus ministry, is definitely something positive and worthwhile, and something that we always try to work harder at. And we always kind of a little disappointed with the numbers, but we try to focus more on the quality of the students we have. Try to foster, what they need and their understandings, just through doing things together, not just spiritually but socially also, just to make them have a sense of belonging. Like this year, we had quite a shift. We lost quite a few members from our organization, our active members, through graduation this year. So this year we kind of started a new leaf. We've got more new members now, more younger people. Might be one of the older ones now, and I know you might be kind of chuckling at me for saying that, but I I was asked to consider a few questions for today's presentation, and one of them was, do you feel part of a young adult group, or do you feel part of a young couples and singles group? And collectively, as a group, we're all our Catholic Newman Club is always working together to do things for one another and to understand our faith and our meaning in life and all that. But I kind of see two aspects of colleges and of students. I see the lower classmen, your freshmen, your sophomores. I see them more of the young adult group coming out of high school, 18, 19-year-olds who are still figuring out what they're doing and what's college and being responsible, what they're going to major in, all these other things that preoccupy the minds of young people, 18 and 19. But then I see kind of another group of your upperclassmen, your juniors and seniors, and even students who've been in school for more than 4 years, like myself. I'll be 25 in this coming May, graduating at the age of 25. My needs are I think a little bit different than from the young adults. I see mine more in the category of young couples and singles, and that point in life where you're thinking you already know what you want, and you're kind of on the threshold of the rest of your life as far as where you're going from here as far as your into your community, as far as your careers, if it's grad school, up and beyond that. But I definitely think that the experience that I've had through our Catholic Newman Club and through our campus ministry at Cal State Long Beach is something that I really treasure, because it's helped me to find balance in my life. It's helped me to understand my purpose in life and to understand myself better as a Catholic, because as opposed to before I left the church temporarily, I was always going to church to fulfill my parents' wishes, and and also kind of well, I'm doing this because I don't want to go to hell and all that kind of stuff.
There's some hell there too.
Yeah. But now that I've returned to going back to church the past couple years, I've been much more involved in campus ministry. I see church as something that I need in my life. It's something that's fulfilling, and it's something I can't live without. And last couple years, I think I've grown so much closer to my church and to my relationship with God and with Jesus, and my relationship with my family and with the people who are really important in my life. And that's I think that's really what I would like to see students get out of campus ministry, because I know college can be kind of a tough time for a lot of people as a transition point in their life. And even though, like I said, we have trouble getting the numbers at our campus, I always like to kind of focus a little more on the quality than the quantity. And when we do get students, I like to do what I can to sort of foster their well-being and to be there for them. I mean, especially since I guess I'm a little bit older than some of our youngins there. Some of the things that we've done a variety of things. I just want to mention two of the most significant things that I've done since I've been involved in campus ministry that were really important to me. Was last December, January, between the holidays, I had the opportunity of being part of a National Ecumenical Conference in St. Louis, where I went with a group of, we went with a few Methodist students from our campus through the Interfaith Center. It's a group of about 13 of us, Catholic Methodist students, went to St. Louis, shared an ecumenical conference for about 5 days, 4 nights, with students from around the country, from about 9 or 10 different denominations of Protestant, Christian, Catholic religions. And through that experience, I began to even understand my own faith much more by seeing other denominations, seeing other people, other religions. It gives me a chance to kind of step back and look at my own faith and to understand my own faith and my own beliefs that much better and that much stronger. So that was definitely such an important part of my life, one of the best experiences I ever had in my life. And second thing, most recently, this past Saturday, I had the opportunity of being part of an outreach program with a group of Catholic Newman clubs from our campus, Cal State Fullerton, and Cal Poly Pomona, we had the opportunity, being part of an outreach program, to go down to Tijuana, Mexico, and to distribute clothing and food to needy people. We had the opportunity to be there for a whole day, to be in touch with people of a third world country who don't have the things that we take for granted for in this country. I think so many times young people, college particularly, just get so preoccupied in their own little world, and they just forget about how fortunate they are to have a roof over their head and good clothes on their back and good food to eat every day, having simple things like electricity and running water that some of these other people that we encountered in Mexico did not have. And I think just by having this, that in itself was a reality check for us, and to realize that through campus ministry we can understand our well-being in this earth and our own purpose, the purpose that God had for us to be here. So those are the kind of things I really like to encourage and foster and support in campus ministry. And that's all I have to for my presentation.
Conscious of the time, but do you have some questions for our two young adults who are with us? I think that they both really affirmed campus ministry as being a very significant part of young adult faith formation of students.
You know something that David brought up that I had thought about when you guys were talking about the fusion between young adult ministry and campus ministry. The difference is that population that David mentioned, the 18 and 19-year-olds, sometimes as young as 17, that don't fit in that definition here in Los Angeles as couples and singles in their 20s and 30s. You know, two of our leaders are actually still barely 19. And I feel like the old lady of the bunch because I'm older even than the graduate student that's on our team. This is my 6th year, so I'm entitled to be older than everybody else. But I think that there's those 3 years, 17, 18, and 19, when they don't feel part of being a young adult. Because I, too, had the myth that young adult meant youth. I didn't know that until I came and actually went to the young adult conference a few years ago. So I think that might be a population that might be able to bridge the gap between young adult ministry and campus ministry. If we can tap into them, market to them, then we can start fostering that.
That's something that we're actually trying to address, is that when we go to parishes, a lot of the pastors are concerned with that large age range. And they say, well, how can an 18-year-old really relate to a 35-year-old? So we're looking at putting down 3 different categories for young adult ministries, like 18 to 24, 25 through 30, and then 30 plus is kind of what we're going to try to break it down and then have specific programming to those different ages.
We've even taken it a step further in that we have decided our philosophy is 18 to 40, but within that age group we're going to have focus groups that will address young marrieds, young singles, older singles, college students, and work it more on the small faith community model rather than tracking by age definition.
We're out of time, and I will just share about the Young Adult Initiative in my workshop tomorrow. I think that'll be a good compromise. One last thing, the pastoral plan that Jim referred to yesterday and it was mentioned here today does take a stance of parish and campus. The references throughout are parish and campus. One paragraph in the whole plan has a word about campus ministry, and it's just a paragraph that explains the difference, and then there's a footnote, and the footnote says how wonderful the 1985 document is, and 10 years old, and it continues, present tense, to guide campus ministry. So it affirms empowered by the Spirit. Then it also notes that in 1995 a letter is going out entitled XXXX. I guess they don't have that title yet. So just if you'd like to see the paragraph, I also have a copy of the full pastoral plan with me. And I would be happy, I know some of you have the types of plans that you need to go, but I'd be happy to stay here for the next half hour and talk to people about that further if that would be, and maybe you're just brain dead. So I won't be offended if nobody stays in the room. But up to you.
I have a second copy of Sons and Daughters of the Light too with me. Also, we had good news this morning. I got a fax from Charlie Hagan. The bishops unanimously approved the pastoral reflection for college students and faxed us the final version, and there are copies for everybody as you leave on the table. So, yes.
You go ahead. I just want to especially thank our two students, because we know how, you especially know how busy students are. So thank you so much. And Leilani coming all the way from her office in Los Angeles. So, and Linda, of course, even though she was here already, we really appreciate your insight.
For dinner, and we get together. Everyone is going to be here for dinner.
Before we're done, I want to say thanks to all 5 of the members, Linda and Joan, who's been with us all week. And I think that I felt very inspired and enriched by all 5 of the presentations. I want to say thank you to all 5 of them.